Hi, welcome to Fan Strike. I'm Josiah.
I'm Isaiah.
I'm Elijah.
I'm Levi.
And tonight we're doing our review of Avengers Endgame.
The Avengers!
Now, for Strike 1, we have Go Fish.
For Captain Marvel to find Tony Stark in the vast spaces of the universe.
First try.
It would have taken a really, really long time because none of the Avengers knew where Tony is and not even where Titan was, so they have nowhere to trace him.
Pepper only knew that Tony was going into space, but they didn't know any specific location, right?
Yeah, and besides that, it would have made a better movie if they would have spent a little more time on the search for Tony and all of that.
They didn't even know he was missing instead of dead.
They might have thought he was dead.
No, so it's not exactly a flaw strike, but there's just so much unexplained stuff in this movie, and this is the first example, and we will have more.
Strike 2, the van.
So as far as we know, Scott's van was on top of Hank Pym's lab at the end of Ant-Man 2. And when we find him, he's in an impound.
The only way they could have gotten the van off the lab is if they shrunk the building.
or
snuck in.
Or craned it off.
Which, why would they do that in post-apocalyptic world when there's...
It doesn't matter.
Like, half of everyone's vehicles and stuff in the whole world are gone, but it's like, this van needs to be put somewhere.
Who cares about the van?
Furthermore, the way that Ant-Man got out, and it's a little bit lazy that a rat started it, but he blows out the back. Bear in mind, those van doors are closed. He would have swoosh. Plus, all the equipment before at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp was like spread out, hooked up,
like
and
10
powered
feet
on
away.
and stuff. So you got to be kidding me if the rat touches one button and all the equipment's ready to go and spit him out.
And then why was there a security camera locked on to this cage of junk and the van?
Yeah, he was just in a pile of crap.
Yeah.
Stole some homeless man's cardboard sign and said help on it, or so I don't remember what it said. I usually don't read those anyway, not even along the interstate.
And they, no. They should have used the lab. They should have used Pym's lab.
I agree. They should have used Pym's lab.
Because
Pym's notes.
Pym
His children.
And Pym.
Pym's lab probably had all the juice they needed. Think about that.
Yeah, they could have got Pym too.
For Strike 3, unfortunately, Hulk.
Yeah, so I have to give you a disclaimer before we cover this. This is more of an opinion than a strike, but I feel fairly strongly about this, so does the rest of us.
Very strong.
Because it's inconsistent with Hulk for the rest of the movies.
Yes.
Well, and the biggest thing was that even Banner, whether he's in Hulk mode or Banner mode, Banner has anger issues.
Oh, yeah.
Banner's angry, and now he's just all like, "Oh,
Hey,
hey,
want
I'm
some
at the
eggs?
cafe. The world's ended, but I'm happy. I'm eating stuff. You guys want some of this? Let's take a picture." It's stupid.
Yeah.
In fact, he was mostly useless. Banner was useful in the science department.
Yep.
But Hulk didn't do anything for the whole movie.
We haven't gotten Hulk action since Age of Ultron.
Plus, he just looked ridiculous.
Yeah, and the only thing he ended up doing was holding up the thing, which he at least should have growled then. Not one Hulk sound effect, nothing like that. Throughout the entire movie, he didn't fight or do anything significant. Hulk didn't. So
He didn't lay one punch.
it's kind of a strike in when there's only so few superheroes left that didn't die in Infinity War.
He didn't do anything.
To have one of the most powerful, he and Hulk are the most powerful of the original
He could
Avengers.
have been one of the most significant in the fighting, but they didn't use him.
Next.
Strike Thor 4.
So, we were pretty glad, or at least I was, to see that Thor got his hair back.
Oh, yeah,
Very excited
obviously.
about that. I feel like he lost a very iconic thing there.
He's back.
Although we were very upset that we didn't, for the rest of the movie, we didn't get the action-packed, fit, big, muscular Thor that we were looking forward to. He was like just kind of big, clunky.
He was
kind of drunk
freaking
and stupid. The rest of
enormous
the
the whole movie.
He was fat.
Yeah,
freaking fast.
He wasn't that fat. He put on a little, but I mean,
He was
He was like
significant.
400 pounds in that
He was
movie.
drinking the whole time.
Okay, look, here's the thing.
And it
You gotta
wouldn't
remember,
happen.
after everything that he's been through, and in 5 years, fighting and the stress and everything, and the drinking and the deal.
I don't think Thor could get that fat throughout the movie. It's not possible for an Asgardian demigod to get that enormously fat.
It was weird to see. Yeah, I didn't like it.
And it was emasculating, too.
That's nothing I can't lose with a little lightning. Lightning.
Does this look like a little weight to you?
Come on, Odin would be ashamed.
It's just not Thor anymore.
Yeah, eat a salad. Come on.
It's not fat, it's enough! I'm still worthy. With strike 5, we have the political agenda. Now, I'm going to start off with the gay thing because we don't have that in Asgard, even though some call it Asgard. First off, Captain America has always been kind of the old-fashioned symbol of, like, godliness and good morals and stuff. And for him to be like, oh, good job, you're gonna go on a gay date or whatever, is just absolutely BS. It goes against his character for the whole time. and then we'll move on to the point about the water.
Well, and now Captain America is like a Earth environment activist.
I think that's and then girl power.
They dedicated a whole section of the movie to every single female character, including Mantis.
And then put them all into one big group right there towards the end fight.
And if they don't want to be sexist, at least let us get a battle action sequence with all the dudes.
Every single dude.
Or if women and men are the same, then how come we have to segregate them and have the girls over here and the guys over there?
That's not equality, that's biasm.
Strike 6, wasted time.
So, again, discrimination. This is not a strike, more so a personal opinion. There was a lot of time wasted during the time jumps to go get the stones. We don't need to see Stark's time with his dad, as emotionally pleasing as it was. We didn't need to see... What else was there?
Hello, Dad.
Yeah.
For a 3-hour movie, they could have covered so much ground and done so much.
It didn't have to be a 3-hour movie.
No, so unnecessary. Strike 7. Space-time continuum, y'all.
Great Scott! To say that Doc Brown's theories on space-time continuum and stuff don't matter, I call BS.
They contradicted right away because of what's-her-face, the bald lady, said about the time stones. Once you take them out of place, it's going to screw up the whole timeline unless you put him back at the exact moment. Same would go for Cap's shield and the hammer, which they do return, they explain that.
But they don't return, but Cap's shield and stuff like that, here's the thing. Those would have futuristic effects. It would affect the future, especially because some of these guys, when they go back to take the stones, the interactions they had, like Captain America seeing himself,
they can't undo those memories.
Yeah, and then Captain America staying back in,
That's the biggest issue.
That's the biggest one.
He went back to the 40s.
He went back to the 40s and stayed there, which would have totally screwed up everything.
Also with the space-time continuum, they said that they have to go back and put it back at the exact same moment. But if they did that, Tony Stark, Captain America, all those guys would run into their other self, as Doc Brown explained in Back to the Future 2.
There is no way that they can return the Soul Stone. So the Soul Stone, huge strike. Because if they did return it, Black Widow would come back. Gamora might come back, but there's no way to actually return that stone.
What would the plan be for returning it? Especially because Captain America would have interacted with Red Skull.
Yeah, there needed to be a whole nother section with that in the movie, but we never did.
Because if we travel into the future, from this point in time, it will be the future of this reality.
Strike 8, base explosion. So when Thanos, bombshelled it with those missiles, whatever they shot at him, they totally should have caught him off guard and definitely killed a couple of them or injured them. But none of them came out of there totally hurt.
It was in Ant-Man's face.
And Ant-Man didn't have a scratch on him after that.
Nope, he didn't even have his mask down, and his suit is not armored.
No.
And they got the reaction from us, but there were no consequences.
Yeah. There was a full crater.
They'd have been better off sneaking in at that point rather than coming in kaboom!
Yeah.
Strike 9. Inconsistenseize.
For starters, the black cyborg dude from Guardians 1, when Nebula and War Machine are getting the Power Stone where, Star-Lord was, he would have interrupted him just like he did Star-Lord in the first movie.
Plus, how did they know where Quill was going to be? Nebula wasn't there. War Machine wasn't there, especially. How did they know exactly where Quill was going to be at that moment?
Because
he never mentioned anything ever.
No, because they said so we just wait for this dude to show up and then follow him. It's like, if they didn't know where to find the stone, why would they know where to find him starting to look for the stone?
And then another one is, why did Thor not use the Bifrost on Thanos? I mean,
Or anywhere
at all, really.
Not looking for Thanos, they send Captain. I'll scout ahead. Captain Marvel goes down. It's like Thor could have been. In fact, Thor could have been helping look for Iron Man in the beginning.
Yes.
All right, and then also War Machine's suits. So like we see it one suit break or whatever after the big, after Thanos' ship blows up the compound, and he's way underground, and like seconds later he's in a brand new huge tank of a suit.
Why would 2014 Nebula
Hack into that one.
give off a frequency but modern day wouldn't? If it's on the same network, how is it not synced up?
They should both like frozen, disrupting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
We also have the Asgardians. Well, where did they come from?
How did
Thor
they
had
survive?
all the remaining survived Asgardians. Now he did say in Infinity War, that Thanos destroyed my ship, killed my brother and half my people.
As far as we know, in Infinity War, everybody that was on the ship was dead.
And also, why was Gamora not at the end as well?
Yeah, on the Guardian ship when they're getting ready to take off on whatever their next adventure is, Gamora was missing from the sea.
Exactly.
And she couldn't have gone back. That's the thing.
No,
she's
no,
in modern day.
She's stuck here now.
Yeah.
One. Now
For the,
also,
for the exchanging of the Soul Stone for Black Widow and Hawkeye, how did they not know what was going to happen?
how is that a surprise? Like, Nebula knew it, Iron Man knew it, they all knew it, and they even knew the story later. They're like, oh, it makes sense. Like, Thanos came with his daughter and left without her. It's like, how did you miss that detail of how they did that? It would make sense maybe if, like, Tony and them were like, hey, we gotta send people that actually care about each other to this place.
But they can't know about it.
but, joke's on them. Flip a coin and let's make bets on who's coming back.
No, yeah.
So-
that's horrible.
Also, his nanotech helmet that Thanos ripped off in the first one and was disintegrated, he records with it in the ship at the beginning. He's sending Pepper a message, and it's like, that was destroyed. It's a nanotech suit, not an old school suit where the parts could come off. Once it's disconnected from his
No power.
from the source, no power or whatever, it's based from nanotech. It's not just manifested out of thin air. And even if it was, I almost said Hulk. Thanos destroyed it. He ripped it off of him.
Yeah.
And they made it pretty clear in Infinity War that the only weapon that can handle that kind of power was the same forgery that made Mjolnir and Stormbreaker.
The Infinity Gauntlet, but Stark's suit, it's one thing for Stark to make a gauntlet of his own that can take it. That was even a little bit iffy. But you gotta be kidding me. Well, that he rips it off and, ooh, look at that. I
Because
got a
they
new
show
gauntlet. Poof.
they show when you apply and remove the stones, it's a struggle. There's so much power in it that you have to.
rip them forcefully off.
And you feel
Thanos
it. A shockwave.
struggles
Yeah.
to get them ripped off
And-
himself.
And how did Thanos not feel it when Tony ripped all 6 of them off?
He would've
nice and
stealed.
quick like a thief. It was ridiculous because, as you see, even when he puts on the stones one at a time, it puts a surge of power through his entire body, and the same thing when he pulls them off. So 6 of them, and he goes, "Huh?"
This changes everything, keep in mind. The end of this movie would not happen after this strike. Strike 10, incoming.
Okay, so this ties into everything, including space-time continuum and all the time travel, scientific crap. When Nebula, evil Nebula, pushes all the buttons and brings Thanos' entire ship through, first off, he didn't have a capsule for the time travel. He didn't have a little wrist device. And when they do have one of those, it's one capsule, one body, one person, one capsule per device. They didn't have a device to get brought through. They had nothing on their end, so you can't just go pew 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 and then bring out whatever you want. There's no coordinates, there's no nothing to bring it through the time travel. And she brought an entire ship
With thousands of people.
creatures.
Well, yeah, but the machine that they were using was specifically designed for people to go through, not big machines with
For those suits to go through.
for them with their suits
So
and their
unless
wrist
you had the
pieces.
entire ship cloaked in a suit,
Because Nebula couldn't have brought Thanos' whole ship through the quantum realm, the end of the movie would never have happened. They would have won when Hulk snapped his fingers.
that would have
That's
been
the
that would
end.
have been the end of it.
Now that we're done with the strikes, we move on to the likes. And first up, we have Robert Downey Jr.
Always incredible.
Gotta hand it to him for his acting at the beginning when he's all distraught after getting back from space and the realization of Spider-Man and everybody dying.
Like number 2, Paul Rudd in his Back to the Future lines.
Yeah. I will say, not just Paul Rudd, but any of the references made when they're having the time travel debate and how they're always referencing
Every
a
time.
bunch of movies. Realistically, think about yourself in any situation like this, you're probably going to refer to pop culture. Now that we're done with the likes, we do have a couple of dislikes before we go. Number one is...
The first one is King.
of
Thor
Asgardians.
passing along the mantle of ruler of Asgard to Valkyrie, but specifically telling her that she's a king for the feminism propaganda. Ugh.
Maybe she's a lesbian. Who knows?
And for the other dislike, this is a big bombshell. Avengers Endgame is a complete dislike for us. Thumbs down all across the board.
We did not like this movie.
Overall,
Severely
things wrong with
disappointed.
It was a massive disappointment from what we were expecting.
And it's not just because we didn't get to see what we wanted. It's not about our opinion. It's about them betraying themselves. Marvel went against their own vibe, against their own ways with this movie. They changed it completely from Infinity War. It seemed like they had different directors.
It's the same guys who did this movie. It doesn't seem that way.
no.
Take it from the mayor of Realville.
But at this time, I'd usually tell you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and mainly YouTube, but there's no point anymore. It's just forget that. If you're watching this video, thanks, but yeah.
We've been shadowed.
Nobody's sharing this video anymore. I'm done.
In fact, on that note, I will say, in terms of looking forward to movies, I'm done.
This was kind of it.
This was it. Star Wars went to crap. Now Marvel closed out with this one in kind of a disappointing way.
To
and,
be honest, it's like this might be a send-off of ourselves unless we can figure out some other things too.
we all feel very fortunate, very blessed to have been able to come together to make this video and to see the movie together. We're actually in 3 different states and all came together just the day before seeing this movie. And so on that note, I'm very glad to be with you guys all and share this experience and to get this video made. Proper send-off to Marvel's Avengers and a proper send-off for us all splitting ways again for the next, who knows, 6 months or so. It's been a long journey for Marvel, and it's been not as long of a journey for Fanstrike, but we are grateful for you sticking around for both, and we hope to see you in the future.
3, 2, 1.
Wait, what was Tom Cruise's?
Baby, get gone! Boom! Boom!
That's horrible. Everybody.